When sound was being introduced to motion pictures, Charlie Chaplin said that films needed it as much as Beethoven's music and its lyrics. A couple decades later, Orson Welles claimed that coloring films is destroying them, and more years into the future, Quentin Tarantino declared digital projection to be the death of cinema. Right now, the community of filmmakers and cinephiles across the world is raising concerns very similar to the ones I just quoted. Once again, people fear the redefinition of the medium, the change in the way we perceive it, and a shift in filmmakers' responsibilities. It's because we are at the threshold of a new revolution, artificial intelligence. So today, I'd like to try and answer whether, once again, new technology will allow cinema to take its next leap forward, or maybe is AI some sort of line we just should not cross? Well, AI is already widely used in film productions all over the world. I can guarantee that almost any film you have seen in cinemas in the past 2 years was at least to some extent enhanced by AI. Its most extensive use obviously comes in the area of visual effects, and although talking about deepfakes or AI-generated imagery usually brings to our mind some very low-quality slop, the most visually stunning films of recent years, such as Dune, Furiosa, or The Brutalist, are known to have extensively used those tools simply to elevate on visual or sound level. The reason AI is so enthusiastically implemented in film productions is not laziness or choosing the easy way out. And it's also definitely not taking shortcuts in coming up with new ideas, as many people seem to believe. See, any one of you who ever tried to make your own film, could have been an edit, a vacation video, anything like that, basically it could be any form of creative expression, knows that the creative part of coming up with something and then shaping this idea into your vision is just a fraction of the whole process. There's a ton of time we spend on doing repetitive, manual labor, and this is something AI deals with. Whether we're talking about great Hollywood productions or small-scale art house cinema, the use of AI all gets down to automatization. Let me give you an example. I assume most of you are familiar with the film Dune. In the movie, there is a group of people known as the Fremens, whose eyes are blue. And in the first part that was released in 2021, the eye color needed to be manually added to every single frame. And just 2 years later, in the second part, what before took much more labor and money, now was done in a couple hours by an AI program. Similar shortcuts are being taken when it comes to color rendering, sound post-production, or even actors' characterization. According to a 2023 analysis made by Bain & Company Management, big Hollywood productions save up to $40 million and up to 25 weeks of work per film only on AI automatization. And those changes aren't only a way for studios to make more money and save time, but they also allow for more creative output. How all those people who are employed to do those mundane, repetitive tasks will now have the technological aspect of the work much strongly facilitated. And therefore, they will be allowed to use more of their imagination on every part of the creative process. And I think that this means something very important to us, the casual cinema-going people, because 50 years ago, if you went to a movie theater, you'd experience people genuinely screaming in the cinema. Because when they saw the spaceships in Star Wars or what the shark was doing in Jaws, they just could not really comprehend how something so unreal felt so real. And we don't really have that anymore. When cinema makes us emotional, it does it in a way it always has and it always will, but we don't tend to be shocked by technology anymore. And I think that in the future, by allowing creativity to be present in every part of the process of filmmaking will allow us to re-experience those wonders. At this point, we have to stop for a little while, because if we don't, it would make this speech sort of dishonest, and we need to touch upon the costs of AI. The job losses in Hollywood and beyond are counted in tens of thousands and will continue to grow at an exponential rate. Another big issue are the copyright laws, which failed to adapt to the ways AI learns on already available data, which obviously casts questions about the legality and morality of using. Those and many more issues have caused countless protests, with the biggest one counting over 150,000 striking workers and writers. But if I were to dive deeper into the threats, into the dangers of AI in the industry, that would have to be a completely different TED Talk. And especially that arguably the negative effects AI may have on the industry already get more than enough attention. What doesn't get the attention are the positive things it might bring into the world of the medium. One of the most common worries about AI use in arts in general is that it makes the work less human. Seemingly, it makes perfect sense because we give away at least some part of the work to a numb, feelingless machine. But what if I told you otherwise? What if I told you AI can ultimately make cinema more human than it ever was? As we go along the history of cinema, making movies got more and more available for more and more people over time. Say, 70 years ago, to shoot a film, you needed a camera that was crazily expensive, heavy, and sophisticated. If you wanted to add sound to it, you must have heavily invested in recording equipment. And finally, to edit the film, you must have had loads of knowledge, experience, and importantly, time. As technology progressed, the gear got cheaper, lighter, and easier to use. For example, digitalization allowed us to edit hours of material without days or even weeks of manual work. And they reached a point where anyone who has a phone with a decent camera, has a laptop with a free editing program, and maybe a couple of friends can produce a really fine film as long as they have some fresh ideas. But when it comes to the technical level of it, those films, those amateur films, won't even come close to the sound quality or the depth of light and color professional films have. And I believe AI might allow us to pass that obstacle. And I hope that you can see that the use of AI I'm talking about here is not for people who lack the skills or the imagination to produce art, but it's for those who don't have the mostly financial means. The whole process I'm describing here is known as the democratization of cinema, meaning making it more available for more and more people over time. Let's go back to the claim that AI can make cinema more human than it ever was. Just think about how many people are there in any place of the world who have amazing, groundbreaking ideas, but can never quite make them real due to some economic, social, or technical obstacles. Maybe AI, by opening the world to a bigger market of ideas, can actually make cinema adapt more of their ideas. And some early examples of this are already being seen. One of them could be a platform called Dreamflare. On the platform, people using AI tools can change their ideas for an original film or a show into ready storyboards or visual concepts that can later be bought by non-AI studios to make a real film or a show. And this is a small thing for now, surely, but it just showcases how artificial intelligence may allow for more human ingenuity to be present in the process of filmmaking, and therefore making it more human than it ever was. Whether we like it or not, AI is entering the world of cinema. And it's already been problematic, that's true, but it will undoubtedly change it. And no matter that people are rightfully or not scared, I think that AI is not an existential threat to cinema, but it's just another opportunity for it to develop. Thank you.